WL, AM, FM, and .com.
Well, we're starting off quiet and chilly across South Louisiana, but things will warm up. Today we're looking at a picture-perfect day, lots of sunshine all around, and that's going to help warm us up into the lower 80s this afternoon with light winds.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan. A man is killed in far New Orleans East. We get the latest from WWL TV's Eric Paulson.
New Orleans police are investigating a homicide late last night in New Orleans East. It happened on Henry Drive, which is near Dwyer Boulevard and the old abandoned Six Flags amusement park site. Officers say a man was shot several times. He died on the scene. Investigators tell us they are trying to identify the suspect or suspects in that case and the motive. So far, we have no other details from the NOPD at this time. If you have any information about this shooting, you can call police or Crime Stoppers. If you call Crime Stoppers, you remain anonymous. Call 504-822-1111.
The body of an American soldier lost 80 years ago in the Pacific has returned to the U.S. for burial. WWL TV's Mike McDaniel has the story.
A World War II soldier killed 80 years ago is finally back home today. Andrew Latner was from Mississippi. He was declared missing in action, but his remains were identified last year. Latner was fighting alongside Australian troops when they were engaged in a battle with Japanese troops in New Guinea. Well, last night, his body was flown to the New Orleans International Airport. It was then escorted to Gulfport, where he will be laid to rest next weekend with full military honor.
Here's Sean Ross with WWL Sports.
The Pelicans are oh so close to punching their ticket to the NBA play-in tournament. The Pels can clinch with a win tonight against the Clippers and a Lakers loss. Head coach Willie Green believes his squad has yet to play their best basketball.
The season's not over. We still have a long ways to go, but we're just building confidence and momentum at the right time.
Tip-off in Los Angeles is at 8:30. Then there were two. Kansas and North Carolina will play for the national championship tomorrow night in the Caesars Superdome. The Tar Heels sent Coach K into retirement and his Duke Blue Devils back to Tobacco Road, while the Jayhawks took care of business against Villanova. Kansas was a part of the last national title game in the Dome in 2012, but fell to Kentucky. Catch the national title game right here on WWL. Coverage begins tomorrow at 5:30, tip-off at 6:30. And disappointment on the diamond in Baton Rouge. LSU fell in the rubber match against Auburn 6-4 yesterday. And no rest for the weary as the Tigers host Grambling on Tuesday, then a weekend series in Starkville against Mississippi State. Sean Ross, WWL Sports.
Now, your Garcia Roofing forecast on WWL.
A good Sunday morning. It is a quiet but chilly start to our morning, but things will warm up nicely today. In fact, daytime highs climbing into the lower 80s. All around a beautiful day if you do have any outdoor plans and lots of sunshine around. As we head into the first half of the work week, things change. We are tracking a system with another cold front. Ahead of that system, a few spotty showers are possible Monday afternoon with highs climbing into the upper 70s. Now, I do expect that cold front to move through late Monday into early Tuesday morning, and we may see strong to severe thunderstorms during that time frame, so make sure you're weather aware. Our front should be out of the area Tuesday afternoon, mostly cloudy skies with us. It'll be breezy with highs climbing into the lower 80s. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan.
And I'm Tom Peruvian, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Need more volume.
Albert, can you hear me?
Actually, it's kind of low, Doug. How do I sound? Am I coming across okay?
Coming across good.
Yeah, you got to adjust the volume, I guess.
All right. How are we doing back at the studio, Doug?
We need more volume.
Yeah. Just while you're working on that, want to give a real shout out to WWL we were invited and had our 100th anniversary party on Thursday night, and it was great to see all the WWL talent and people that work behind the scenes that make WWL what it is. Great speeches were given, and in recognition of people going by and the old days and all the way up to the current staff. And I got to tell you, it was a lot of fun and just a lot of history being recalled during the event.
Y'all, am I loud and clear?
No.
No, you're still kind of low, Doug. I don't know what the deal is, but I can keep jabbering if you want.
Go ahead.
So anyway, but no, it was nice, and all the sports folks were there. Bobby and Hokie. I mean, not Hokie, but Hokie was remembered. Bobby and Deuce and Mike Haas, and it was a great time. Got to meet a lot of the people that I've just spoken with on the phone or heard about. And it's amazing that WWL has been around so long. I mean, you hardly think that radio's been around for 100 years, but yeah, and it's they were talking about Ida and how they were able to have generator power for the broadcast right after Ida, and they had 11 people living at the station, which is there's no wonderful prize, right? But 11 people living at the station who we could give 24-hour news to people, that were in Florida, evacuated wherever they were, even people that remained home that might be able to pick up a radio reception.
I think I'm back, Albert. How do I sound?
Oh, there you go, Doug. There you go.
There I go. All right. Thank you for the cover there. You did a good job.
Yeah, I tell you, I've told you this once before. Got a lot of respect for guys that do this by themselves. Newell, Christian Garrick, those guys that don't have anybody else to kind of bounce things off of and have a conversation with. Just to sit there and have no dead air and talk for 2 hours, 3 hours, however long their program is. It's a lot more difficult than people might think. But kudos to those guys. But I was talking while you were getting your stuff straightened out about the event and WWL and history and 100-year anniversary and just how much it's part of the city. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, you think of all the events that occurred that people glued WWL anywhere from hurricanes, the Super Bowls.
Right.
I said last week my first great memory was the LSU Ole Miss game with Burt Jones, where he and they ran 2 plays in 4 seconds and ended up winning the game. So it's just, and I used to ride around with my dad also, who was he's an engineer, but he was a salesman. He did a lot of sales, so I'd take a ride with him. We'd ride maybe across the state with him, and he had WWL on 24/7. Eric Racing at the time. It sort of became part of our lives, and it's very historic. It's part of the fabric of New Orleans.
When you get into Hap-Lottie and Buddy B and those guys, just some of the characters that have, even down to Scoot today, as a character but a New Orleans character, and we've kept it local, and it's just been even from Bobby down in the Bayou and throughout the state, it's just been it's a really great station. Glad to be a part of it, and people, I'm on WWL. Really, you're a WWL? Wow, it lends some credibility to you just by being part of the station, and
I have to
appreciate all that.
I have to give kudos to Odyssey in the sense that when Odyssey basically took over WWL, the temptation is to make everything homogenous, to make it like Dallas, to make it like New York, other stations. I think what Odyssey
everywhere USA.
Right, and I think what Odyssey realizes New Orleans is a very unique community, and it really didn't tamper with the unique personalities that we have on WWL. And I think we I told someone that I was told once, or that I couldn't do this anywhere outside of New Orleans, which I didn't know whether to take that as a compliment or insult. Only because maybe they just wouldn't understand the vibe.
Well, and you make your Bucktown jokes, and you don't sell jokes, it's all part of the local. Hey, look, people love that. I'm just so tired of everywhere USA with the same strip malls and the same department stores and everything trying to just be the same. And it's what's so unique about New Orleans, and again, like you said, the Odyssey picked that up and ran with the fact that we have mom and pop stores, we have local corner bars, we have unique food and music and all of these things that keep us so unique. And we have big beautiful mansions next door to little small houses, and it's not big subdivisions in the city. It's all it's just all unique and different, and we celebrate that. And again, WWL seamlessly is a part of that with just the talent. You look at Bobby Hebert, Mike Detillier. You look at a lot of these guys, Don Dubuque. They're the salt of the earth. They represent who we all are as part of Louisiana, and it's great that they have a platform and a voice, and so many people can identify with it.
And we got a resident Marine with Christian, and also too, one of the things that Kevin Cassidy was saying when he gave us his talk at the party was they really do not, when you call, they do not censor what you're going to say. They welcome different opinions. Now,
right, not a whole lot of debate.
Right, you might have spirited debate, but you do welcome, as long as you're sober. So sometimes doesn't get in, but sometimes, but no, it welcomes. It's a platform for all viewpoints. That's the way it should be. What happens is when you stop the exchange of ideas, which a lot of other media outlets do, and as well as social media, then you cease to be America. And when you have these exchange of ideas, sometimes these ideas are very uncomfortable. And a lot of times these ideas push the limits, but you need that kind of discourse in a free society in order to have a democratic type of government. And
the host might call you a squirrel, but you still have your voice and your platform, right? Like Buddy D used to do. But it's been great. Let me ask you, Doug, you think after all these kudos to WWL, they might give us a raise?
I think they might. They could double our salary.
Wow.
And we would probably be in the same position.
Yeah, exactly.
So for some of those public school students, 2 times 0 equals 0. Okay. So no, it was great. Did you watch Final Four yesterday?
Of course. Yes. Great game. No, the first game actually wasn't. Kansas. My brother-in-law spent the night. We just had breakfast, and he graduated from Duke, and so of course came in and was hoping for the victory because he could stay till Monday. But he made the comment that Kansas could have beaten the Lakers last night. They were just on fire, and it's a team of seemingly men among boys. They really got a good staff and good player personnel. They're well coached. All positions are pretty solid from top to bottom. I think North Carolina's going to have a tough time. I'd like to see Coach K, ride off into the sunset with a national championship. But the basketball gods, it wasn't meant to be. And again, you missed a couple of free throws at the end of the game. North Carolina made a couple of great threes, and so it was fun to watch, and it's part of it. An 8 seed beat a 2 seed. It was a storybook game, right? They'd never played in the in the tournament to get against each other. No, they played in the postseason, I think, in their tournament, but not NCAA tournament, right? And actually, I think they did have a little stat last night where they did play in the NIT against each other, like in '73 or something. But yeah, storybook. Coach K's last year. Who's it going to be in the Final Four? Is North Carolina? They're the biggest rivalry in college basketball. So I mean, you throw all that together, and it was really it was great. And again, the Coach K's victory would have probably written it a little better, but I think he would have had a tough time beating Kansas anyway. So
Kansas is
yeah.
Probably my favorite. Yeah, I didn't watch it. LSU baseball.
Oh, okay.
I ended up caught up with my brother, he was an Auburn baseball player back in the Bo Jackson years, and so
really,
he played. He came in with
Bo?
They were both coming in as incoming freshmen. And,
no kidding.
And
Bo had a little more success, huh?
Yeah. Everybody has a Bo Jackson story. He has a great Bo Jackson story when he was a catcher. Basically, the short version is he picked up a gapper at the base of the wall. Man was on first, and he just wheeled around and tried, threw it towards home plate. Well, my brother's thinking, I'm going to try to cut it off at the pitcher's mound and get the guy out at third. Well, the ball ended up going over his head. And he had a coach, I think it was Bo Nix, his grandfather. And he was a very tough coach. He looked over the dugout, and the coach just shrugged his shoulders. He said, "Who would have known he could throw it forward?" But yeah,
probably the best 30 for 30 I could recall was the Bo Jackson 30 for 30. It personified who he was. They interviewed him. He was just this shy kid. He had like a speech impediment, and he overcame it and was probably the best maybe athlete in when he went and played pro baseball. They were interviewing the pitcher, and I'm not a baseball guy, but he was a popular name, and they're interviewing him. He said, his first at bat, he said he hits the ball, and it goes to the shortstop. It's an easy ground out single, and he beat the throw to first base.
Right. When he played at Auburn, they just really wanted him to beat the ball into the field, and he could run it out. And he had a little problem with the curveball at the time, which he worked out. But he was, he was just very, very, very raw. So, Auburn did beat LSU in the rubber game, 6-4. I think LSU left, 11 or 13 on base, but it was good. Congratulations, Dean. You won the family. On that one. So Auburn took us 2-3. So, but we watched.
Yeah, pretty good. Take a break and get him on the show.
We're gonna get him on. We got State Senator Kirk Talbot, who's going to talk to us about his insurance bills that are pending in the legislature in River Ridge, Representative River Ridge, Kenner, and Harahan. So we're going to have Senator Talbot on, and we look forward to show 187. Got questions for us. We're going to hold Senator Talbot and give him a little time to talk about what he's doing. So we'll be right back. All things legal.
When you listen to Scoot, you're listening to rock and roll history.
Today, in 1970, was on this day in 1990. I'll never forget the way I felt the morning.
Scoot's rock culture calendar has everything you remember and some.
Okay, I have Senator Talbot on, and he's ready to roll.
He covers it all.
Could we get a little bit more volume from you? Yes.
Someone who's lived it.
Honestly, I'm lucky to be alive.
Scoot on the air, weekdays 1 to 4 on WWL.
So how many adjusters has your insurance company assigned to your Hurricane Ida claim? 3? 4?
Okay, Babel is the last spot in your check.
How many of your emails have been recorded?
And the language today will be Norwegian.
This is Albert Nicaud with the Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. We've paid homeowners insurance premiums for years. You deserve to be paid.
Speaking of the anniversary call, we would like to work for an organization that's almost as old as you.
I'm ready to help you finally get some
In New Orleans, a one-of-a-kind love deals with one-of-a-kind engagement in a box from Oakland Heart. At Oakland Heart Jewelers,
That should be fatal.
an enormous selection of unique and popular engagement rings, many created by our own award-winning master craftsmen. And for generations, we've made the engagement ring shopping experience in New Orleans one of a kind as well. You share your excitement with us, and we'll share our knowledge with you. There's a great work of art and a great value in every box from Oakland Heart on Metairie Road.
Elise and Carl's Bakery needed a small business on fast, but instead of going to On Deck, Carl called.
She's not a morning person.
There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com, and if approved, you get your loan as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or some Industrial Bank. All loans subject to lender approval.
Don't put your life on the line when you dig. Do what the pros do. Call Louisiana 811 before you dig. It's a free public service and it's the law. Louisiana 811.
Hey you! Ever wanted to learn a new language, like French or Spanish? Or even Norwegian? Thought it would be difficult or time consuming? If so, it's time to try Babbel. Babbel lets you customize how and when you learn. Quick 10-minute lessons on words, siesta, habla, phrases and grammar.
Most uncomfortable.
To games that keep it exciting. Listen to podcasts on the go, or take live online classes with a real teacher. Hola, clase, ¿cómo están? It's really up to you. In no time, chatting about real-life topics with your, well, experts. Go ahead, see where Babbel takes you. Habibi. More ways to explore, more ways to learn. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Now, more All Things Legal, underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinion shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
Hey, we're back. Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Please call 260-187. Before we go to Senator Talbot, I forgot to ask my mother-in-law, Phyllis Dealey, if she remembers the first broadcast from WWL. And so,
you mean WWL, who just celebrated its 100th anniversary?
Yeah. I have to ask her when I see her this week.
I think it was 2 cups and a string, basically.
Yeah, that's right, at Loyola. So her friends listen to this, so I'm going to hear about this. 12 hours. Okay, let's go. Let's go on Senator Talbot. He's a state senator for the state for the district in Kenner, Harahan, and River Ridge, or as Buddy says, River Ridge. And thank you for joining us, Senator Talbot. We appreciate you getting up on Sunday morning to talk about your good work in the legislature.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Senator Talbot, if you could just tell us a little bit about you. You've been in the legislature for a while, and you sort of understand how things work in Baton Rouge, and just tell us about your history in the legislature.
Yeah, so I served 12 years in the House. I got elected in 2007 when Bobby Jindal got elected for his first term. So I did 12 years there, and then I ran for the Senate 2 years ago. So starting, we're midway through my first term in the Senate. I chair the Senate Insurance Committee. I'm on the Education Committee, Judiciary B, and the Retirement Committee.
Now, you headed the Insurance Committee, and obviously you had some, feedback and concerns in the aftermath of Hurricane Ida and some of the insurance issues. What was some of the feedback that you were receiving from your constituents as far as the aftermath and insurance companies and how they were getting money out or not getting money out for claims?
Yeah, so Commissioner Donnellan, the Commissioner of Insurance, was going around the state having some town hall meetings, after Hurricane Laura and after Hurricane Ida. We had, once Ida hit, we had one here at the Yenny building with the state reps in the area, Debbie Villio, Joe Stagney, John Ills, and we really got we had a really good turnout, had maybe 200 or 300 people there, and got a really good idea of some of the problems that people were facing. Multiple adjusters couldn't get their insurance companies on the phone. The whole thing about adjusted living expenses, if you recall, there wasn't an official evacuation order declared. So State Farm, I think, or some of these big insurance companies weren't paying those additional living expenses. The commissioner directed that anyway and made them pay it. Now that's going to go, to litigation. But those were some of the big things that we were hearing, and that kind of spawned the commissioner to get me and Mike Hubal, who's the House chairman. He represents St. Martinville. He's the insurance chairman on the House side. Kind of got together, and Jim Donnellan said, "Look, we got some problems here, and we need to get some legislation filed." So we all kind of collaborated on a package of bills to address these problems and to hold insurance companies more accountable.
And why don't you tell us about some of the bills that are pending in the legislature that in response to what occurred, starting 7 months ago?
Yeah, well, one bill that Joe Bowie has, he's a Democrat state senator out in New Orleans East. He's got, I think it's Bill 264, that raises the minimum capital and surplus requirements for property and casualty insurance companies in Louisiana from $3 million to $5 million by 2026 and $10 million for 2031. And what that does is, we've supplemented a lot of market share to these smaller insurance companies that Jim Donnellan has attracted to Louisiana by various incentive programs since Hurricane Katrina. And this bill just kind of makes them more stable financially, makes them have to have more money in reserve. The problem is, the bigger insurance companies, look, they're scared to come to Louisiana. They're hesitant to write policies here. I mean, look what, we've had 4 hurricanes in 2 years. So, we've supplemented that with these companies. So that bill will kind of raise their financial stability. So, they're more financially sound. Another bill that I have is a bill, we call it the 3 adjuster rule bill. I think it's Senate Bill 198. So that says if you've, it requires like a primary contact person assigned to the claim. If you've had more than 3 adjusters in 6 months, then they're going to have to give you one person, one phone number, and they're going to have to give you a synopsis of where you are in your claim, what is being denied, what is being paid for, where you are in the process, to try to, fix that problem of, they get a new adjuster and they have to start all over again. They have to tell the adjuster what happened. They have to produce more documents. This will hopefully take care of that problem. And that was one of the main problems we got. And look, it's been I'm a business owner. It's been a difficult couple of years with COVID, finding employees, people not wanting to work and so on. And that was not immune to adjusters. You had a lot of adjusters coming in from Houston, from Memphis, from around the country. And, they had relatives that got COVID. They got COVID. Maybe, they got on this government assistance and decided they didn't want to work either. So it was kind of a, no pun intended, a perfect storm where, insurance companies can't just pay 3,000 or 4,000 adjusters to sit around waiting for a storm. All that being said, they have a responsibility to take care of our claims, and hopefully this bill, will correct that problem. Another bill I have is Senate Bill, I think it's 162, and this bill says that when the governor declares a state of emergency for a named storm or windstorm, an insurer can't cancel or non-renew an insurance policy if the property is damaged by the storm until at least 90 days after that property is repaired. A problem we're seeing is your house or your business is still in repair and they cancel your policy. Well, go try to get an insurance when it's not put back together. When you have a roof off and you have the walls gutted, they won't do it. They'll say, call me when your thing is repaired, and we'll cover you. So this is consumer protection. There's also, I got a bill, I think it's 612, under this program, Louisiana residents can apply for grants to retrofit their roofs using methods that meet the fortified home standard of the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety. And it's really amazing to see. If you look at these houses that have this retrofit process and these roofs, and they use better nails, they use more nails per square. They fared very well. And so this is something where you can go get a grant for that, and hopefully, you won't have those problems next time we have a bad storm. And one other bill I'll mention, in post-Katrina, Governor Blanco did a really good thing. They passed legislation to create an incentive program to incentivize insurance companies, property and casualty insurance companies to come to Louisiana and write policies. And it was a monetary incentive, and it matched certain money that they would put up. And they had different requirements, like they had to have this amount of money on the road, this amount of reinsurance. I filed a bill to reinstitute that incentive program. We haven't really put a dollar amount on it yet, but we want every tool out there to bring. Look, the only way to have affordable rates, we have to have competition. We can't have insurance companies leaving Louisiana, because when that happens, we're going to get into like the auto insurance problem where no one wants to come here and people are leaving Louisiana, and we don't want that. So that's just several of the bills, and we have more, but there's several of the bills that are all consumer driven and pro-consumer legislation that I think is going to hold them more accountable.
Senator Talbot, we're going to hold you over a couple of
points.
We wanted to ask you, a little meat on the bone as far as these bills and how they can be helpful. So we're going to take a break. We're here with Senator Kirk Talbot. All things legal. We'll be right back after this free time out.
Information you need.
The problem is this. Can you figure out why and how this happened? That. Show me the facts. Show me the science.
Everybody is doing it now more than ever. There's a larger story.
Who knows what to really believe?
I don't think that we're picking up on all of it.
I just think we need to question everything we're seeing
from the source you trust.
I listen to a lot of talk radio, and I come to you for facts and truth.
Your analysis is spot on.
So I am informed.
WWL, the News Talk Sports Leader.
Start your bracket with a bang. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving new customers a $150 instant bonus guaranteed. That's right, you'll get $150 in bonus site credit, and all you have to do is place your first bet of $5 or more. How you bet the bracket is up to you. You can choose from the money line, totals, prop bets, and so much more. Join FanDuel today with promo code Garrick. Then you can place your $5 bet to score $150 in bonus site credit guaranteed. That's right, you'll get $150.
Okay, the last spot in the set is a short one featuring Mark Twain.
GARIC on the FanDuel Sportsbook app.
21 plus and present in Louisiana. Permitted parishes only. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Here's to the lucky few who managed to find their soulmates. That one person who listens, understands.
And that would come after Big Lou, who's never read Mark Twain.
That person who deserves nothing less than the best. An award-winning engagement ring from the master craftsman at Oakland Hart Jewelers. The Oakland Hart family is passionate about offering a vast selection of diamond engagement rings in all the most popular styles. No matter what your price range, we have the best for less. We're constantly searching the world diamond markets for the most beautiful diamonds you'll ever see. We buy direct, always getting the lowest possible prices. Plus, we offer interest-free financing. Listen to what Brad from Covington said in his online review. Selecting a diamond can be overwhelming. Oakwood Heart went above and beyond to make this an easy process. The ring is absolutely beautiful. My fiance couldn't be happier. See? Brad knew that before he got down on one knee, he needed to get down to Oakwood Heart Jewelers on Metairie Road. Why? Because there's a great work of art in every box from Oakwood Heart.
Veterans, whatever you're going through, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach. Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Where do you go when you want to sell your old gold jewelry?
CausewayCoinCo.com.
Brandon Hawley here. Premium Windows. Professionally measured, professionally installed. ReliefWindows.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-568-2790. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-568-2790. That's 800-568-2790 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-568-2790.
Some people bring joy wherever they go, some whenever they go. Mark Twain found humor all around. Never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference. Humor. Pass it on from passidon.com.
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Oakwood Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back.
Albert Nicaud,
legal. State Senator Kirk Talbot on, talking about the insurance bills that are pending in the legislature. I know, Albert, you got some questions.
Yes,
Senator.
Albert Nicaud, how are you?
Hi.
Yeah, listen, I wanted to, we're handling a ton of these, and we, after Katrina, we probably handled over 1,000 Katrina claims. So we're very versed in it. We've been doing it a long time, and we kind of see what the games are. And listen, I get that, they've got to get money on the streets within 30 days of their inspection. But what I'm seeing over and over again is an adjuster who goes out and, writes a $10,000. Perfect example. Got a house in Metairie, substantial damage. Adjuster comes out, writes a $10,000 estimate. By the time the deductible and depreciation is taken out, they write a check for about $3 grand. So we go out and it's nearly $90,000 in damages, 80-something thousand. We get our people to assess it. Louisiana licensed contractor. He's been in business for 30 years, and this is what he's come up with today's numbers. And so they come back out and they delay it. They re-inspect it, and all of a sudden they agree to $75,000. So what I would like to see is some bill that says that if your initial estimate is such percentage less than a court of law finds or your final adjustment, you can be subject to penalties, because that's what they do. They go out and they give you nothing, and then they force the homeowner to go hire an attorney, give up a percentage, because we most are working on contingencies, give up a percentage of their property damage recovery, which they need to complete their repairs. And we see that over and over and over again. All of a sudden the adjustments, $9,000, and now it's $75,000 when they sent their second inspector out. And it's crazy that they're just playing games on the front end just to avoid the penalties. But I think there should be some sort of penalties for grossly under. Now, the court can award that if they found that it was not, but I would love to see some sort of guidelines in the legislature where there's at least a minimum that they would have to come up with, and it might get them to put up a few more dollars on the front end.
Right. Well, that's an interesting interesting idea. We'll run that up the flagpole. One thing that, and I'm sure you've seen this, that consumers don't realize is that when you take that first check, that's not the end all be all. I've got a bill, I think it's Senate Bill 153, about a claim, so we're going to make insurance provide you with a claim disclosure form. Once the form is hit, that shows a really detailed process in layman's terms on what your rights are, how this process works, and that you can make a supplemental claim if the first check you get is not what you want, or if you find further damage. A lot of people don't want to take that first check because they think this is it. I'll never get anything. Don't take it. But and y'all know this. You can make a supplemental claim, and a lot of people we found in those town hall meetings didn't understand that.
We're telling people that all the time. Yeah, go ahead and deposit the check.
Right. I mean, I've never read fully my policy, so it's confusing. So hopefully this bill, this is another one I didn't mention. Hopefully that will provide a much simpler explanation of the process. But no, you bring up a good point, and I've heard that scenario many times, and that's something that is definitely worth looking into.
Let me ask you a whole question, Senator. The insurance commissioner has a tough job. You have a tough job because you're a businessman also, and you understand both sides of the issue. And you have a 30,000-foot view of it. How do you, as a legislature, create an environment where the insurance companies have to abide by their obligations and hold them accountable without running them out the state?
I regurgitate that phrase every day. I have colleagues that want to file bills. I want to punch the insurance companies in the face. I want to do this and do that. We can do that, and they're going to leave. So that is the dance I have to do, along with really the chairman on the House side, Mike Duval, is we want to hold them accountable. We want to make sure they're behaving right and doing what they need to do. But in the same breath, they don't want to be here anymore. We had companies leave before Ida that left after Laura. 4 storms in 2 years, 600,000 claims. Katrina was 750,000 claims. And if you recall with Katrina, a lot of that was flood. Lakeview and all those areas that flooded, that was the flood insurance that came in and put those houses together. This 600,000 claims are mainly wind, which means that's on the P&C industry. So you're looking at a massive dollar amount hit that they've had. So, they already are looking for an excuse to get out of here. So that's why we're it's a balancing act. We got to hold them accountable, but if we go fire and brimstone on them, they're just going to pull out and leave. And that doesn't hurt. That hurts all of us. That hurts me, you, and everybody else, whether we've had a claim or not.
We're back with citizens again.
Right.
Right. And I'm glad you brought up citizens. One thing that we, a thing that we've done very well in Louisiana is how we've handled citizens. Right after Katrina, Citizens was up to like 173,000 policies. I sit on the Citizens board by way of being chairman of Senate Insurance. We had gotten those policies down to about 35,000. We actually were depopulating so fast that we had to slow it down because we weren't going to be able to keep the lights on. We had gotten rid of 2/3 of the staff, and which is a good thing, right? You don't want people in Citizens because they're paying 10% higher than the average premium, and us as taxpayers are on the hook if things go bad. So Citizens is in great shape, has a lot of reinsurance, has a lot of surplus. We can handle a lot more policies coming in. We're probably going to double that to about 70,000 because of all this. If you look at what's happened in Florida, they've done the opposite. They've gone Florida Citizens heavy and put them in a really, really bad spot. So also LIGA, the Louisiana Insurance Association, they haven't established those insurance companies in 20 years. We actually took $75 million out of there about 7 or 8 years ago when Kendall needed to sweep some money. But that's in good shape. Now they're having to assess the insurance companies for the postponement of the year. They're in great shape. So those things are working. Those protections when we have big storms like this. But bottom line, 4 storms like see is the hard thing to swallow.
One other thing too. What I see is most of homeowners who have business insurance, they're what we call good citizens. I mean, they pay their taxes, they pay their insurance. They have a lot of responsibility, middle class, and they sort of what makes us go. And they're not, a lot of the policyholders are like, when they call us, they're like, this is the last resort. We don't really particularly like lawyers to begin with. And, we want to call them as a last resort, but I'm sort of emotionally exhausted or tired of the lack of communication. I'm thinking if you had a process where if you got the insurance company and the homeowners together, you can resolve the claims 95% of the time. It's just a matter of having everyone focused on the issues. And, it would be have an appraisal process, which is okay, but it's really too expensive for the policyholder and the policies. But if you had some type of mediation process early on, you could probably get rid of a lot of the disputed claims without a lot of expense to the homeowner and also to the insurance company, which would seem to be a win-win. But it's hard to get the parties together, in a short period of time. Like for Katrina, we did 300 or 400 mediations with State Farm, but that was in 2008. And my thought was, if we would have done this in 2006, this would have been a lot cheaper. But it's just from my observation. I know, Albert, you have a thought on that.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I think, what again, one of the things that concerns me, and right at the very beginning of this, I'm talking, within a few weeks after the storm, my home made out okay, but my daughter lives around the corner and a tree fell on the flat roof of her house and it covered her master bedroom, etc. And so I got a hold of this adjuster and he talked to me and I told him about my history and handling so many claims and this and that. And, finally he said, look, can we go off the record? I said, yeah, I mean, this guy's probably, in his 50s or so, been doing it for 20 or 30 years. He said, man, these insurance companies, he said, they're telling us to go out and undervalue these things. And so we talked about, I met with him at the house and we talked about certain things that he was going to put into the estimate. And, when I get the estimate back, they're not in there. So I called him up and he said, I'll put them in there. And the adjuster, desk adjuster who didn't see the property, didn't see any of that. Took it out of the lot.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I would love to be able to have something in the law that says you've got to provide the homeowner with all adjustments that have been submitted by your adjuster, so we can see if the desk adjuster has written down any of those estimates.
Senator Talbot, you okay with staying over the next break?
Sure.
Okay, you got Senator Kirk Talbot. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We're putting the senator to work this morning. He's working all the time as he's a state senator. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in about a minute.
It's tournament time, and the action is heating up. Make sure your picks are ice cold. The BetQL app is here to help you make smarter bets so you can cash in more.
Okay, it's looking like about 4 minutes till top of the hour on the news break.
Analytics. BetQL has all your betting needs covered. BetQL's model runs thousands of simulations to find you the most profitable betting opportunities every single game on the board. Get started today. Download the free bet.
Yeah, sure, happy to.
Visit BetQL.com.
When you ask people here what's the one thing that makes Diamonds Direct their favorite jeweler, for some, it's the unbeatable pricing. We get it through our direct importer, no middleman connections, the foundation of our business since day one. For others, it's uncompromising quality, from hand-selected diamonds to handcrafted designer rings. Only the best of the best. Some people put selection at the top of their list, as Diamonds Direct offers up to 30 times the options you expect from a typical jewelry retailer. For some, it's our luxurious showroom with diamond experts who genuinely care about your happiness and who are empowered to do whatever it takes for you. Others rave about Diamonds Direct's unmatched warranties and guarantees and an extraordinary 110% diamond upgrade promise. But you know the most often answer we get when asking what makes Diamonds Direct stand out? It's not one thing. It's everything. Diamonds Direct. Value, luxury, choices, and confidence. Get directions, showroom hours, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Remember the slogan, "There's a great work of art in every box from Oakland Heart"? Classic New Orleans commercial, right? But did you ever wonder what really goes into every box from Oakland Heart? We'll give you a hint. The jewelry itself is only part of it. With our team, customer service is an art too. Our experts make you feel like family. They answer all your questions, empowering you, giving you confidence in your decision. According to an online review from Elizabeth, there's nothing Oakland Heart won't attempt to do for their customers. And then there's the fact that every piece of jewelry from Oakland Heart is of better quality, like no other, at every price point. Chances are your mother, maybe even your grandmother told you that. Oakland Heart provides an experience and service that is an art form in itself. Then in the hands of our award-winning designers and craftsmen, the real magic happens. Artistry, expertise, passion, exceptional service. That's what's inside every box from Oakland Heart Jewelers on Metairie Road. Hey you! Ever wanted to learn a new language, like French or Spanish? Or even Norwegian, but thought it'd be too difficult or time-consuming? If so, it's time to try Babbel. Babbel lets you customize how and quick 10-minute lessons on words, siesta, bambola, phrases and grammar, to games that keep it exciting. Listen to podcasts on the go, or take live online classes with a real teacher. Hola clase, ¿cómo están? It's really up to you. In no time, chatting about real-life topics will feel, well, effortless. Go ahead, see where Babbel takes you. Paris. More ways to explore, more ways to learn. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nicaud and Sunseri now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. Here with Senator Kirk Talbot. During Hurricane Ida, you basically had a lot of the parish presidents saying couldn't give an official evacuation order because it was sort of snuck up on us, but they basically said, go away if you can and don't come back. And Senator Talbot, you basically have a Senate Bill 131 to address that type of situation as far as evacuation orders. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the problem is, like you said, they didn't officially say, you have to evacuate. But obviously, for a storm of this magnitude, we had so Jim Donnellan, to his credit, made an executive order and basically, made them pay that additional living expenses. So, what this bill does is basically puts that protection in there, and that's a bill that the insurance companies are gonna fight, and we haven't moved that bill yet. We're trying to work with them and come up with some amendments, to make it more palatable. But just like you said earlier, that's the dance we got to do. We can't, we don't want to run companies out of here, but that's just one of the bills that's going to be a little contentious. I mean, for the insurance companies, to their credit, they haven't really given us a lot of resistance on the other bills yet. I mean, they know that some things need to be done, but this one, we're still working on tweaking it and getting it right. so we can get that bill moving. But it's a long session. We've got till early June, so we got plenty of time. But that one is still kind of on the drawing board right now.
Now, I think we were talking a little bit about your prior bill. I think one of the WWL dedicated, I think, 12 hours a week to insurance claims for about 3 months because it was so hard to communicate to the policyholder what they needed to do. And I think one of the things that to communicate is we were always saying it's really ultimately up to the policyholder to quantify their damages. In other words, the insurance company makes an initial assessment, but to quantify those damages is its policyholder. And I think the summary sheet you had talked about, we got about 60 seconds, would be very helpful in telling policyholders what they need to do in order to move the ball down the field.
I think so. Yeah, that's Senate Bill 163. And again, I couldn't stress enough, if you take that first check, that's not the end-all be-all. You can always make a supplemental claim if you find more damage.
Okay, Senator, I think Senator Talbot agreed to stay over through the break. And we're going to ask him about a few other bills that he has in the legislature, a carjacking bill and a bill that he had a couple of years ago that has come to fruition that we wanted to talk about. So thank you for staying over. We're going to national news, local news. We'll be back in 10 minutes and all things legal for hour number 2. We'll see you in 10.
Home of the Saints and LSU, WWL New Orleans, WWL FM and HD1 Kenner New Orleans, and Odyssey Station.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Christopher Cruz in Washington. 6 people have been killed in a shooting in Sacramento, California this morning. At least 10 injured. KOVR-TV's Curtin Ming.
A fight broke out just as the bars were letting out overnight, and video surfacing shows people punching each other and somebody in a chokehold when somebody pulled a gun, and then you hear several rounds. Right now, a good portion of downtown Sacramento is shut down as law enforcement has the streets roped off and is investigating.
The shooting happened in an area that's packed with restaurants and bars. Police say they're searching for one shooter, although there could be more. Chief Kathy Lester.
Right now, we do not have a suspect in custody on this, and we're asking for the public's help.
Cell phone video captured the fight and then the sounds of gunfire, including what may have been an automatic weapon. Horrifying news out of Ukraine today about what's being discovered after Russian troops retreat from Ukrainian cities. Presidential spokesman Sergei Nikiforov.
These images are really they are heartbreaking. We found mass graves filled with civilians. We found people with their hands and with their legs tied up. It was shots with bullet holes at the back of their heads.
The withdrawal by Russian forces is being seen as just a regrouping. Through an interpreter, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on CBS.
We think this is the redeployment. In our opinion, they're changing the tactics now.
You can see the full interview on today's Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan. In Washington, D.C., a van has crashed into a city bus, killing the driver of the van and injuring at least 6 people. WTOP reports the crash happened just after 1 this morning. Severe weather will begin the week, says Weather Channel meteorologist Molly McCullum.
This would make the 3rd week in a row from Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama into Georgia. We're looking at the threat for tornadoes, damaging wind, as well as the potential for hail. On top of that, because we have this tropical moisture moving in, we're also watching for the potential of flash flooding.
Is there a new COVID wave heading toward the U.S.? CBS News correspondent Michael George reports health experts are concerned that officials aren't doing enough to prepare for a potential spike of the BA2 subvariant.
Nationwide, new COVID cases are still low, but rising in the Northeast as BA2 becomes the dominant strain in the U.S. This is the number of Americans getting vaccinated is at the lowest levels of the pandemic. That has some sounding the alarm about the lack of federal funding for testing and vaccinations.
We have to get the money. It's not going to last this past probably June 1st.
That was House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and this is CBS News.
Get CBS News Radio on the Odyssey app. All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. News, music, sports, and podcasts. Download the Odyssey app today.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. That's 800-401-6681.
WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian on your official weather station, WWL AM/FM.com.
Starting off quiet and somewhat chilly across the area, but we're looking pretty nice as we head into the afternoon hours. Daytime highs climbing into lower 80s. If you have any outdoor plans, the weather will be perfect. Lots of sunshine all around with light winds.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist, Michelle Morgan. The Coast Guard rescued an injured sailor from a fishing boat in rough seas off Port Fourchon early yesterday morning. The rescue took place Saturday morning in roughly 15 miles south of Port Fourchon after the sailor reportedly suffered a serious injury to the hand. Working in 4 to 6 foot seas, a Coast Guard boat from Grand Isle arrived on scene, provided immediate care to the injured crew member, and then transferred him to awaiting emergency medical services personnel at the Nerby Collins Commercial Fishing Marina in Port Fourchon. The crew member was last reported in stable condition. Another guilty plea from a defendant accused of helping staged accidents. We get the latest from WWL TV's Eric Paulson.
The federal government's investigation into staged accidents here in New Orleans has netted a 33rd guilty plea this past week. According to a report on NOLA.com, Ashley McGowan became the latest person to admit she lied about her role in a wreck that cost a trucker's insurance company hundreds of thousands of dollars. McGowan is scheduled to be sentenced on June 9th. In total, prosecutors say 47 defendants schemed to stage 77 wrecks with commercial vehicles here.
Now here's Sean Ross with WWL Sports.
The Saints start their offseason training tomorrow with new head coach Dennis Allen and new free agency acquisitions. There could be a learning curve. Veteran QB and Saints newcomer Andy Dalton says no matter the position, you got to learn the playbook.
Throughout your time, you learn to pick up a new playbook. Like you said, all the concepts are similar. I don't feel like there'll be really anything new that I haven't done. It's just being able to know the terminology, how we're going to be calling it.
Voluntary OTAs start at the end of the month, ahead of the draft. Swin Cash will be inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Pelicans VP of Basketball Operations and Team Development says the timing of this honor is unbelievable.
It is an honor to be getting inducted and to get this honor here in New Orleans, as I'm currently working with the Pelicans and the NBA side, and so it's just truly special.
Cash racked up quite the resume, including 2 Olympic gold medals, 3 WNBA championships, and was a 4-time league all-star. Cash joined the Pels front office in 2019. And the championship match is set. Number 1 Kansas will play number 8 North Carolina tomorrow night, the Caesars Superdome. You can hear all the action right here on WWL Radio. Pre-game coverage starts at 5:30, tip-off at 6:30. Sean Ross, WWL Sports.
Now, your Garcia Roofing forecast on WWL.
A good Sunday morning. It is going to be another beautiful day across Southeast Louisiana. Even though it's somewhat of a chilly start to our morning, daytime highs will rebound nicely, climbing into the lower 80s. Lots of sunshine around, and winds will be fairly light.
Okay, here we go.
Into the first half of the work week, things will change, tracking a system with another cold front. A few spotty showers are possible ahead of that cold front Monday afternoon. Highs will still remain pretty warm, climbing into the upper 70s. It'll be breezy, but I do expect that cold front to move through late Monday Wednesday into early Tuesday morning. And once again, we have a chance for severe weather. Severe to strong thunderstorms are possible, so just make sure you're weather aware. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WOTV meteorologist Michelle Morgan.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news, talk, sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
We're back. That's Sunseri. We're on until 10 o'clock. Sunday afternoon in the spring, there's no LSU baseball. Find something else to do this afternoon outside, I guess. But,
well, you know what? You say that real quickly. Robert Simon, a Trenton Parish sheriff deputy, was injured in an accident and has to have a few more surgeries, currently in a wheelchair. He's a great guy and just, always a smile on his face. He's a 6'10" stomper. But anyway, there's a fundraiser for him today beginning at 2 o'clock at Southport Hall. So if you want to go out and support him and enjoy a good time, 2 o'clock Southport Hall. There's also, I believe you can go to Sheriff Joe Lapinto's website and donate online. It's Robert Simon is his name. And just, again, a great guy, great cause, and should be a fun time out there.
All right. Give a shout out to Sheriff Lapinto. He does a bang-up job.
Absolutely. Yes, he does.
We got Senator Kirk Talbot, who represents Kenner, parts of Harahan, and River Ridge. And he agreed to stay through the news. We wanted to ask him about some of the other bills that are pending in the Louisiana Legislature. Thanks for staying with us.
You're welcome.
We talked about the insurance bills, but you had a bill about carjacking, increasing sentences. Can you tell us about that and where it is in the legislature?
Yeah, so currently the carjacking statute is, if you're convicted of carjacking, the judge can sentence you to no less than 2 and no more than, I think it's 20 years in jail. So what my bill does is it does 2 things. It adds a stiffer penalty for using a weapon, a dangerous weapon in a carjacking. And then, and I found out later on from some district attorneys that really wasn't going to do a whole lot, because they can charge them with armed robbery, if they use a weapon. But they said the thing we really need is a mandatory jail time for causing seriously bodily injury, like when that poor woman was dragged to death when her arm was severed in Mid-City. If she would have survived, that carjacker would have just been charged with the regular statute. So we put in there, I think it's an 8-year minimum, no parole, no chance of getting out. If you cause serious bodily injury, and I know y'all are attorneys, serious bodily injury is defined somewhere in law, so I don't have that in front of me. But that is really the meat of the bill. That bill has passed the full Senate last week with no nay votes, and that'll be heard hopefully in the House committee this week.
Yeah, I'm probably ask you not difficult question, but an obvious question. But I think what what's the impetus of doing this? And was it in part because New Orleans drives all the surrounding areas, Jefferson Parish, St. Tammany Parish, Plaquemine, and it doesn't seem like New Orleans is taking care of business when it comes to criminal justice. So a lot of times you guys have to step in and say, hey, if you're not going to take care of this, we're going to have to do some things because you can't handle your own parish. Is that part of the impetus for this particular bill, or?
Yeah, but also, like without having that bodily injury penalty in there, even if a carjacker was caught in New Orleans and then they seriously hurt somebody but they didn't die, they still can't charge them anything extra because all the statute allows is, I think it's 2 to 10 years, not 2 to 20. So, we're putting in there mandatory, prison time if you cause serious injury. So that wouldn't matter. But look, I know what you're saying. I mean, when we had this quote unquote justice reform package of bills that were passed 2 years ago that I voted against, I think almost every one of them, look what's happened. Everybody's out of jail.
And listen, people have to understand, and I don't know how old your children are, but people have to understand the mindset of teenagers, especially teenage boys. They want limits. You talk to any principal, any person that deals with those, that age group of kids, regardless of race, regardless of whatever ethnicity, et cetera, teenagers, young adults, they need limits and they need to know where the line is. And if there's no line and there's no consequence for their action, they're going to continue to do it. And if they, and so without some sort of consequence, in all this justice reform thing, all it's doing is giving them the green light and telling them that the society doesn't think that what you're doing is a big deal, because we're going to let you right out, right out of jail. You're not going to go to jail. There's not going to be a bond. There's not going to, so all of these things. So it's sending a bad message and it's getting a bad result. Kids need limits and kids need to know where that line is and not to cross it. And if they do cross it, there are going to be some serious consequences. But that bill seemed to undermine that whole concept.
Right. I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, look at the kid that killed this poor woman. He had a litany of charges against him and was never held accountable for it. One thing we have on the books that Mark Morial had when he was mayor, we have a citywide curfew. If the mayor chooses to do that, she can. It's on the books. Maybe that's something we should take a look at.
Another on the criminal justice reform. Do you sense the legislature that the results of a lot of this reform is being manifested, and is there a shift now as far as how the legislators are viewing criminal justice reform and saying, the pathway to hell is paved by good intentions. We understand what you're trying to do, but it just doesn't work.
Right. I think it is. I think it's starting to shift back to, maybe we need to claw back some of these things. Maybe they went too far and they're not having the desired results that I never believed them, but that some people obviously believed, and that's why some of those bills passed. But yeah, I think that's some buyer's remorse in the legislature right now on that topic.
And look, I'm all for giving a kid a second chance, but not a 10th or 11th chance. And that seems to be what's happening. That they're just going to rap sheet a mile long and no consequences, and no deterrent to do any of this.
Now, Senator,
right, I agree.
Senator, you had another bill about catalytic converters and being removed from cars. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we're creating, its own little crime statute about stealing catalytic converters, and it is I didn't realize how big of a problem it was. Somebody had approached me about it, so I said, sure, I'll file the bill, and then I started doing research on it. And it's unbelievable the amount of catalytic converters that get stolen every day in this country. It's not unique to New Orleans. It's everywhere. In Baton Rouge in January, they had a guy got arrested, had 150 of these in his garage and was selling them, on the black market. And, they contain precious metals, platinum being one, and I think 2 other precious metals that make them very valuable. I mean, they're valuable in and of itself, just because it's an expensive piece of your car. But when you add the component of precious metals in there, and precious metals, because of, the war in Ukraine and the stock market has shot up, they're even more valuable. It doesn't take a long time to get them out of your car. There's no particular car that they're stolen from most, but they are SUVs and trucks, because you can crawl under them easier and make a couple of cuts, and then it's out of there. And, it's about $1,200 without labor to get a catalytic converter replacement. But like everything else, there's a big shortage in this country for catalytic converters. So even if you wanted to get one, you might be waiting months. So it's a real hard thing. And if you're low, middle income, and you're struggling to make ends meet, and someone takes the catalytic converter off your car, it's a major problem. So that bill, increases the penalty for stealing them, and it's passed the Senate floor. No nay votes. I think that bill's going to fail.
Okay, I'm going to change gears with you a little. Talk about a little past history. Fire bill that you sponsored. Now, this is going somewhere. You were a St. Martin graduate, right?
That's right.
Around 1987, probably around there.
1988.
88. Well, when you were there, I was a high school basketball referee doing games for St. Martin when y'all played Newman. I think Coach Hernandez might have been coach. And I remember you guys because when I would go to him for halftime games, I'd walk into this room and it looked like a spread for a wedding. You had, all this catered food, and then you had a bar that was stacked with every adult beverage you could ever want, which obviously I couldn't, when I was refereeing, I couldn't partake in that, even though I was accused of partaking it during the game by some of the fans. But, and so I understand. And one of the things that you had sponsored 2 years ago was the transgender bill about participating in sports. And 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I was testified for the Attorney General and also for in one of Senator Johnson's committees on some similar bills. And when I said bathrooms and athletics, I was sort of roundly criticized as being alarmist and some other isms by bringing that up. They're saying that would never happen. And we see where we are now. You sponsored a bill in 2020 about transgender and playing women's sports. And that had received a cold reception from the governor. Can you tell us about that and how what they told you wasn't going to happen has now happened, right?
Right. So that was I was a co-author on that bill. That was Beth Mizell, senator from Bogalusa, had that bill last year, overwhelmingly passed with 2/3 vote in both houses, and the governor vetoed it. And when we went for the override, it fell. I think they peeled off a couple of votes in the House. So we fell short there. That bill is back. She's going to hear it Thursday in Senate Education, which I'm on. It's going to pass. Again, both houses with flying colors. I think what's changed now is the Leah Thomas swimmer.
Leah Thompson.
Who was, I think, 487th ranked in men's, and now she's winning the female championships, and everybody's in an uproar. And this is the kind of thing that Senator Mizell was talking about. Like, this is what's going to happen. And all that bill, it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't punish. It just says, if you're a biological male, you play in biological male sports, and same for female. I sit on the board of the LHSA. They want this bill very badly. The policy of the LHSA is that, you play your birth certificate. And so basically, you can't do that. But there's nothing to say that a lawsuit couldn't be filed. The LHSA would like to have this law in place to mirror their policy and give them clarity on where we're going. But, clearly it's a problem. My son's a senior. He throws the discus. He throws the javelin. He throws the shot put. If he threw the javelin in girls track, he would win state hands down, not even trying. So it's a huge disparity between, especially in track and field. And this is about protecting women's sports, nothing more, nothing less. And women are coming out of the woodwork now, supporting these types of bills. And it's going to pass again. And I would predict, after seeing the override for the governor 3 days ago, I would predict that we're going to override the governor on this.
It's funny. I have a friend of mine from high school, Kirk Talbot, and he had two daughters. I think one was number 1 in state, one was number 3 in state, and he would get up at 4 o'clock every morning. Drive from Covington to Slidell so the girls could get their hour of swimming in every day, and so they could compete. And to have them get to the college level and have to compete against a 6'5" male who identifies as a woman It's just a travesty. They worked hard all their lives to compete within their sex and within their class. And now all of a sudden, they're going to change the rules, and the individual's rights are being taken in consideration over the rights of everyone else. And it's just craziness.
I agree.
All right. Well, Senator Talbot, we appreciate you spending an hour with us. Apologize to your wife and children for taking you away on a Sunday morning, but we appreciate the time, and we thank you for letting us, letting all of us know what's happening in the legislature with insurance and some other bills. And we wish you the best of luck. And look, you guys don't get credit because y'all are truly serving as far as with potholes and all these things. You guys pick up your phone 24/7, and we appreciate everything you do, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
All right.
Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Senator. All right, let's go to break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your Weekend Lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time.
Working from home?
I work from my home office.
Working from the office?
I can be at my desk.
Thinking about work while leaving your home for the office?
So let's go to work. Here we are, driving to work. Commuting to and from work.
Connecting you with the news you need when you need it. Now with the app, I can stay at home.
I listen to this all the way home, and
I can listen on my way back to work.
That's not bad for a work day.
Download the Odyssey app today and stream WWL anytime, anywhere.
Great news from Rocket Mortgage. You could unlock more cash than you realize from your home's equity with a cash out refinance today. In fact, in the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. That means you could unlock thousands of dollars. And with Rocket Mortgage, you could unlock all that cash in less than 3 weeks. But you've got to act right now.
Okay, the last part of the set is Papa's Pepper City.
Make your life better. Build a home office. Remodel your kitchen. Or simply save that cash for a rainy day. Today's rate on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 3.25%, 3.48% APR. So you lock in a great low monthly.
We have no one waiting on the phone at the moment.
Rocket can. Call 833-8-ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started. That's 833-8-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates current as of 12/12/21. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license law 50 states unless consumer active. Call 800-990-120 for cost information.
Her words weren't written under peaceful shade, but under fear for her life.
I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains.
The words of Anne Frank continue to fill us with hope. Hope. Pass it on from passiton.com.
Just can't wait to get on the road again. After 2 long years, the Caesar Sportsbook Crescent City Classic will take place Saturday, June 16th. Register today at ccc10k.com. The Caesar Sportsbook Crescent City Classic.
Bobby Hebert here. I have a boat and I love my boat, but my wife said I couldn't keep it at the house. And launching it always ended in an argument. Now my wife loves our boat since we began storing it at Seabrook Harbor Marine. Jeff and his brother David run Seabrook. Jeff, tell me about your stackable storage.
Well, Bobby, we could store 200 boats in our 38,000 square foot dry stack building. Just give Seabrook Harbor a call and your boat will be in the water ready for you.
And you don't have to move your boat if a storm comes.
That's right, because we're inside the levee protection system. Seabrook Harbor survived Katrina, and all of our boats were perfect.
I'm really impressed with your yacht repair yard. Seabrook is probably the best on the entire Gulf Coast.
Well, thanks, Bobby. From outboard repairs to bottom jobs to complete refits, essentially, if it's legal, ethical, and it floats, we'll do it.
Tell us about all the other things you have.
In addition to our dry stack and repair yard, we have 33 wet slips, a fuel dock, ice, showers, and fish cleaning stations.
Seabrook Harbor Marine on France Road on the Industrial Waterway, just a half a mile from the lake. Or online at SeabrookHarborMarine.com.
Jerry and Larry's auto shop needed a small business loan fast, but instead of going to On Deck, Larry called. Really, bro? There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. Go to OnDeck.com, and if approved, get your loan as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank, a Utah Chartered Industrial Bank member FDIC. Limited eligibility for same-day funding. OnDeck does not lend in every state. All loans subject to lender approval.
Hey neighbors, we're not that far from where you are. Make that short drive to Paw Paw's Campers and Picayune and see our
We're going live after this one.
Sportsman and Singer trailer lines and our Rockwood and Heritage Glen fifth wheel line. From Houma to Hammond, Biloxi to Jackson, Mobile and Pittsburgh, well, we're not that far from where you are. Come and see us.
You're gonna love the way we deal. Pop Dogs, Kansas City, and PIU. You're gonna love the way we deal.
All things legal on WWL-AMFM.com and the Odyssey app. Connect with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on the Oakland Art Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud. Weekend lawyers, all legal. Give the call 260-187. Albert, I would thank Senator Talbot for his time. You know, the legislators or politicians you don't read about who just do their job, do it, quietly, do it efficiently. We read about the ones that, get, just like any other profession, have, maybe take advantage of certain situations of certain power. But, like Senator Talbot, I mean, they're really servants to, the constituents, potholes.
They don't make a ton of money. They're there for at least 4 months in the legislature, March, April, May, and June. And then, of course, they're working to prepare for the session prior to that. So they're probably 6 months out of the year working very hard, just, in the legislature, not to mention everything they do in the other 6 months to serve their constituents. And, again, you check the salaries for what the amount of work that they do, and they really are servants.
They're probably below minimum wage because they get paid $16,000, plus they get a per diem that probably doesn't even get Senator Talbot back and forth from Baton Rouge.
Right. Exactly.
Right. It probably doesn't even cover that. But, I think a lot, when you see a lot of council people and a lot of senators who you don't read about as far as, some of the things that aren't so good, very appreciative of all of them because the sacrifices they make for their families, the sacrifices they make vocationally or for the businesses is just very admirable, and it's a thank you to Kirk and all the other people who just I'm not just every problem that you have, trees, potholes, fake, abandoned car, all those issues, traffic flow, all those type of things, they're the ones who sit down and listen to the problem. So
absolutely. And the bigger issue, like people's insurance claims and how the state's going to function and run the budget and all of these things that help move our state forward. And a lot of compromise, from both sides of the aisle, just trying to work things out and get the best for our state. And again, kudos to these guys. I know they work hard. Like you, I've been up to the legislature a number of times to testify for bills, and they take them very seriously and consider them, and their staff gets together and writes proposals and researches the issues. It's an interesting process, and it's again, like you said, they're kind of unsung heroes. It's a prestigious position, but it's also a thankless position a lot of times.
Right. You had a very interesting theory as far as for bills, as far as the percentages of the initial estimate by the insurance company, and if they were below a certain amount, then that would be a basis for bad faith. You want to talk about that a little bit more? It's just
I haven't thought it through or but essentially, like the example I gave the last hour, listening, have a claim in Metairie that goes to the lakefront, and they got pretty substantial damage to their property, and water came behind the stucco walls and into the house, and the initial adjuster came out in September, and of course used August numbers, but came out in September and wrote an estimate right around the $10,000 mark was a gross estimate, reduced it by the $7,000 deductible and the depreciation, and ended up writing him a check for like $1,500. And so we send a guy out, a licensed contractor. They put up this, this Xactimate estimate. The guy's been in business for 30 years, and all of a sudden, it's a $80-something thousand claim. And so they delay it, and finally send somebody back out there, and this guy comes up with $75,000 in damages. And so, to me, and I think I could convince the jury that that first initial estimate was not a true estimate. It was something to put money on the street to try to avoid penalty. And, when it's 7 times, when their own second adjuster comes back at 7 times more than their initial estimate, all of a sudden that first one doesn't look really good. And it should be some sort of bad faith. Now, the danger with a bill, in thinking it through, danger with the bill of this type is that the adjuster's not going to want to come back the second time and give you what they really think that you should get, or what you're entitled to. They're going to want to keep it within that margin so they don't get stuck with penalties, and they're going to make you try the case to go, to go get the penalties.
You see, and I think we talked a little bit about this in the first hour, as far as it's about claim resolution. And I think when you get the homeowner and the insurance company together early on in the same room, or they're focused on the claim or some type of mediation, they resolve 95% of the time. I mean, you have a great resolution rate. And, again, I think for Ida, we had 300 or 400 claims. I said the name, I'm not going to say it again, with a large insurance company, but we had them in 2008. And the issues were the same in 2006 as they were in 2008.
You're talking about for Katrina, yeah.
Katrina, yeah. And
you said item, okay.
And we resolved 99.9%, 99% of the claims in the 1 hour mediation. We did 8 a day for months. And I think if the key is most homeowners, and I don't know if it's your experience, they're not the litigious type who have homeowners insurance. They're not,
what I find is they want closure. They want it over with. They want to get paid. They want to get their house fixed, and they want to move on. And so, it's not like they're aiming for the back fence and trying to really screw it to the insurance company, And I think that they're just ready to be done with it. And quite often, unfortunately, the insurance company wins through attrition, right? Where they just wear you out. You get worn down, and you're like, you know what? I'm tired of fighting this. I'm tired of trying to deal with it. I'm going to get up there and put the roof on myself, and I'm going to go, paint my walls and change my floors myself. And, and then of course there's a provision in the insurance policy that says, we will pay you what our estimate is, or what the actual cost of the work is, and what you actually paid for the work, whatever is lowest. So if they hold you out and hold you out and hold you out and don't pay your estimate, and all of a sudden you go get it done yourself, they're going to say, well, look, we're not going to reimburse you for your labor because it didn't cost you anything. So the policy said it's got to cost you something. Well, it did. It cost me time, money, and effort, but it's got to be quantified. And so that they're going to delay it and then take credit for the fact that they've delayed the damages, because you've now gone and done it yourself. You've delayed paying your damages, and now you've gone and done it yourself. And so now all we owe you is what your out-of-pocket expenses are. And that's just, it's unfair, and it needs to be addressed and challenged. And, I've researched that over and over again. I found one case where that was brought up in a federal court case, not an appellate case, as a result of Katrina. And it never did, it was on a summary judgment issue, and that was brought up. And so it never got to judgment. And so I never did find out what the courts would have ruled on it. But I think I could make a very good argument that it's bad faith per se to hold out and not pay what is due to the insured. Then all of a sudden they go do the work themselves because that's all they can afford. And now all of a sudden you're going to say, oh, well, that's all we owe you is the lesser amount because you did all the labor yourself, or you went and hired these day laborers in front of Lowe's and Home Depot with no insurance, with no warranty, with who knows what skills, right? And so now that's what you're stuck with in terms of what what you put your house back together. And I think that, I think a court would be persuaded by the fact that, look, you should have paid X. This needed to be done. You didn't pay it. And we had to go do this so we could live and mitigate our damages and not live somewhere other than our home. So, I mean, it's just frustrating to see some of the games that are played. And the worst is when the lawyers get a hold of it, because they want to make good for their client. And so they're going to do everything they can to try to find some loophole in the policy language to exactly. And so it's just frustrating to go through the process, and it's truly why you need a lawyer. One thing I do want to mention, with our deductibles going up and going up and going up, I would strongly recommend to anyone out there listening to start now, open an account, and put whatever you can afford per month into that account, and until it reaches the amount of your hurricane deductible.
There you go.
Yeah, because I got a $12,000 deductible. Well, you're never going to be made whole if you don't have that $12,000 sitting around. So I know it's easier said than done, and I know a lot of folks are living month to month, but if at all possible, if you could put that money aside into some sort of interest-bearing or account, and hopefully by the time you need it, you will have that reserve to cover the deductible, because it's no longer $1,000 or $1,500.
All right.
It's sometimes $20,000.
With advice like that, they were going to put you on Saturday morning as well as Sunday too. So there you go.
With the financial.
All right, let's go to a break.
Show, right?
Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your Weekend Lawyers. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Hello, friend. We know you're busy. That's why we make it easy to listen to WWL where you want and when you want. You can hear us live, on Rewind, or on demand at WWL.com, or on the Odyssey.
The last slide is going to be about a podcast, and we'll go live.
Or hot highlights from each hour. And don't forget, you can listen live on your smart speaker. Just tell your device, play WWL. Day or night, weekday or weekend, we're here when it matters most. Don't miss a minute of WWL.
Start your bracket with a bang. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving new customers a $150 instant bonus guarantee. That's right, you'll get $150 in bonus cycle, and all you have to do is place your first bet of $5 or more. How you bet the bracket is up to you. You can choose from the money line, totals, prop bets, and so much more. Join FanDuel today, promo code Garrick. Then you can place your $5 bet and score $150 in bonus site credit guarantee. That's right, you'll get $150 in bonus site credit, and all you have to do is place your first bet of $5 or more. That's promo code Garrick, GARIC, on the FanDuel Sportsbook app.
21 plus present in Louisiana. Limited action only. First online real money wins are only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
2022 is the year for that diamond upgrade. Time to go from a 1 carat to a 2 carat, or a 2 carat up to a 4 or 5 carat. It's true, going bigger is in, but that doesn't mean you have to overpay or compromise on quality. Diamonds Direct is your best destination for large, unique, and rare diamonds. These are exquisite, hand-picked precious diamonds from 2 carats to 20 carats, in all shapes, independently graded by the GIA. These diamonds have all been chosen for maximum brilliance. Best part, Diamonds Direct stunning large diamonds sourced from the best ethical diamond cutters around the globe, purchased exclusively for our showroom, and free from any broker or middleman upcharges. This means you can go bigger with the confidence that you're getting the highest quality
quality at the best possible price nationwide. You see, at Diamonds Direct, we're more than just another jewelry store. We're the nation's true diamond experts with unrivaled selection, uncompromising standards, and unbeatable value. Let us prove it today with your diamond upgrade. Diamonds Direct. Get directions, showroom hours, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance to buy $1 million of affordable term life for you. All you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-568-2790. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-568-2790. 800-568-2790.
Find podcasts for your passions on Odyssey.
Like the documentary series Love Thy Neighbor about the 1991 Crown Heights riots.
It was an accident which other people use as an excuse to murder one member of our community.
Or The 11th.
Bringing you true, unexpected stories.
And experience the new podcast movie thriller Ghost Rider.
Starring Kate Mara and Adam Scott.
It's not a whodunit. If you know who the killer is all along, the real mystery is why.
Find all the podcasts that matter to you in a universe of audio.
Odyssey.
Now, more All Things Legal, underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinion shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
Hey, we're back. Albert Nicaud, you weekend lawyers, All Things Legal. Albert, got a text. Good morning. If your flood insurance goes up and you cannot afford your flood insurance, can your mortgage company force you to have it?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's called force place coverage.
It's in your
documents that you sign, those hundreds of pages of documents you sign with your mortgage company.
They have the right
to protect their investment.
Their investment is the money they loan you to purchase that home, and that home is collateral for that investment. And so, they have the right to protect that and to make sure that it's insured. So that's going to be a bigger problem for people, because before the flood policies were being, the premiums were being based upon flood zones and flood maps. And so if you lived in a particular flood area, you would get charged a certain amount. If it was not a flood zone, you would get charged a lesser amount. Now they're going to do a hybrid of that plus the value of your home. So if you have a more expensive home, even though, the maximum coverage is still only $250,000, if you have a more expensive home, then they're going to factor that into their underwriting and charge you more for your insurance. So, people with more expensive homes are going to be paying more money than others, because they're, regardless of whether they're in a flood zone or not.
Another question for you. If I'm hearing a lot of complaints from homeowners who are having a hard time interacting with their mortgage company to get the money that's being held in escrow out to do their repairs, even get inspectors. What's your advice for some of the homeowners and policyholders?
Short of reading the extensive documentation to get someone's mortgage paperwork, most of which
probably don't have a copy of it anymore. The mortgage has been in effect for maybe 10 or 20 years. But you can rest assured that they have the right to get those funds and hold those funds until you you get the work done on your house. Again, what they don't want you to do is have, collect $70,000 from your insurance company for, $80,000 worth of damage, and then, patch it up and don't do the work on it and pocket the money. They want to make sure that this money is going towards getting their risk, again, the home that they have, which is the collateral for their mortgage, they want to make sure that that home is built back safely, up to code, and the money's not spent, on a new Cadillac. So, they have an interest in doing that. Now, procedurally, that's how do they work? We've had some of them that have just endorsed the check and sent it back, and we've dispersed it. We've had others that have said, we're not getting into any type of relationship with you and your lawyer. We're going to take the money, and we're going to, write you a check, and then it's going to be up to you to pay your lawyer. And that's going to be an issue for a lot of our claims, because we have expenses to pay, we have our fees to pay, et cetera. One of the companies wrote a check directly to the lawyer after seeing the disbursement. So what we've done is we've put in our initial paperwork some language that allows us to deal directly with the mortgage company, and some language that that allows us to receive the check and make the distribution of the funds. If it's a $20,000 check, they'll probably return it over. If it's a $100,000 check, they're going to pay you back in increments and send out an inspector to make sure that certain phases of the work are being completed.
And I think a lot of times people have a hard time if it's an out-of-state company getting them engaged in the process, and that's
or finding a live body to get on the phone. That's the other issue.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to a final break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after 3 times.
We all reach tipping points in life. The weight of a low-paying job, unpaid bills, a new family. You can't keep going. That's where My Computer Career can help. In just months, not years, they can help you start a new life as an IT pro, even with no prior experience. Impossible? You learn online from home. My Computer
Give you 8 minutes all the way to the top of the hour and to tie things up.
IT pros. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Hey, you! Ever wanted to learn a language like French or Spanish or even Norwegian, but thought it would be too difficult or time-consuming? Then try Babbel. Quick 10-minute lessons. Games, podcasts, and live online classes with a teacher. I'm not going to say in no time, chatting about real-life topics will feel, well, effortless. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Community coffee. We didn't set out just to make great coffee. We set out to make something that would bring out the best in people, morning, noon, and night. And didn't want to share a cup of that. Community coffee. Find us at your local grocery or visit us at communitycoffee.com.
LA 121 12674. Offices in Baton Rouge.
Hey, you! Ever wanted to learn a new language, like French or Spanish, or even Norwegian, but thought it'd be too difficult or time-consuming? If so, it's time to try Babbel. Babbel lets you customize how and when you learn. Quick 10-minute lessons on words, phrases, and grammar. To games that keep it exciting. Listen to podcasts on the go, or take live online classes with a real teacher. Hola, clase, ¿cómo están? It's really up to you. In no time, chatting about real-life topics will feel, well, effortless. Go ahead, see where Babbel takes you. More ways to explore, more ways to learn. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Some people bring joy wherever they go. Some whenever they go. Mark Twain found humor all around. Never argue with a fool. Onlookers may not be able to tell the difference. Humor. Pass it on. PassItOn.com.
All things legal with Sunseri and Nicaud on WL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Open Heart text line 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back.
Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyer. All things legal. All right. I think I'm done talking.
What do you think? I want to ask you about the Pelicans. Why?
I'm impressed.
In the last 7 days, they beat the Lakers twice. And they were down last Sunday by 23 points and made a phenomenal comeback. And
unfortunately, when these games started, I have a little difficulty staying up to see the end of them, But I fell asleep and found out, actually through a text. Somebody texted a group that the Pels won, so I didn't get to see the end of it. But I heard LeBron was triple covered and tried to throw up some nonsense instead of dishing it off. Yeah, I'm really over LeBron. He's everything what's wrong with the NBA. But
yeah, you're right. I went to bed. It was 96-90. Pels were losing. And so I said, and then when I woke up the next morning, they won 114-111. And I did watch the last, I think 7 seconds where Lakers had the ball, and LeBron took the ball down. He faked twice. He was triple covered. He had three other Lakers wide open along the perimeter.
Who was shooting the ball well? Yeah.
Yeah, and he airballed it, and that was it. And it was just can't take anything away from what he's done as an athlete, but I think he's a horrible ambassador for basketball. He's a horrible ambassador for the way he conducts himself, in a lot of ways. As far as how he conducts himself on the court, But I tell you what, Willie Green has a culture that's being built in that organization. That he's got a fantastic temperament, and I think what he's done was, like, I think the other players and the other 2 coaches, they played, but it wasn't coming from within. In other words, I sense that these players want to play for Willie or Coach Green, and they're not playing because they're it's just a different type of, I guess, interaction I see between them. And he's very calm.
Let me tell you, he's made it a point to get quality players and on the sport. I'm talking about guys that are quality athletes and good people in the locker room. You can look before the game. They support each other. They're friends. The culture in that locker room, in that environment. I'm sure it had to hurt when they traded a couple of guys away to get McCollum, which was a great trade, by the way. But I'm sure that the folks that were leaving were very disappointed to not be part of that magic. I think that's happening in the locker room and that friendship and support.
The other thing he does too is he figures out what these players need to do to succeed. I think the move from Jackson Hayes from center to forward, and he sort of assesses his players' attributes and plugs them in a role where they exceed. And I a lot of times, Jackson Hayes' improvement has been exponential. Alvarado's been, fantastic.
Right.
And
I have to disagree with you on the Jackson Hayes issue. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I don't like him at the 4 position, standing at the 3-point line. If you watch how teams are playing, he's not a 3-point threat. And so the fact that he's a 4 and he's on the, at the side court at the 3-point line allows people to sag and help out on Valanciunas, or help out on the high pick and roll, and not guard. I mean, we want to dare him to shoot that 3 because he's not going to. Plus, it pulls him away from the goal when he wants to rebound or have an alley-oop or something that he excels at. I don't like that move of putting him at the 4. I think he'd be better at the 5 position, but. It is what it is. Watch the defense. Yeah, watch the defense today or tonight when they play, and see how they sag off of him. And when he gets the ball, they don't even run at him because we want him shooting that 3. That's a bad shot for the Pelicans.
Another another thing that Coach Green should be credited for is putting Herb Jones out on the court.
Oh my God, yeah.
Many other coaches would start Herb Jones for a lot of reasons. You know, what maybe they had a first round pick that they should have played, or he playing the best players. And Herb Jones is going to be a Tashawn Prince type of player. With every great team needs a Herb Jones on their team, and he fills that role because he plays great defense, does the little things that you don't see. And I don't know that a lot of other teams would have started him, but he saw something in Herb Jones where he says, "I'm going to put him in from the very beginning," and that took a lot of guts. And also Troy Murphy is just he's starting to come on also.
Yes, yeah, Trey Murphy. Yep, he's and look again. You know, if you get a chance to watch like Pelicans Live or any of that where they interview these kids, they are just, you know, they're saying the right things. I hope they mean it, but you can kind of tell. They love where they are. They love the locker room. They love the experience of it. They really love each other. They're friends. You know, no matter who's out there making a shot or the good pass or the good defensive play, they'll show a picture of the bench and everybody's cheering them on, even though they're sitting and maybe taking some of their minutes off the court. They want the team to succeed. They want their other players to succeed, and it's fun to watch. It's a good environment.
Yeah, so
you want to cheer for them.
And I think it's going to solidify because I do think New Orleans will support a team that's competitive. There's not many NBA teams. If you look at the Houston Rockets right now, you look at nobody's in their games. A lot of the teams that aren't, Indiana, some other teams, it's arena's 3/4 empty. I think New Orleans can make it if they put a competitive team on the
the thing unfortunately that concerns me about New Orleans, it's a Saints team first. And so as far as the Saints may go into the postseason, for some reason, New Orleans fans can't multitask and, support the Saints and at the same time pack the house at the arena, and really things don't get going until the Saints season's over. And now you got this other team to cheer for, Again, they were 1-12, so there was not a lot to cheer for at the beginning of this season. But to see what the coach has done to turn things around and how the players have pulled together, and the beauty of it is he has played so many different guys that that when they go into subs they're as good as the regular team. I know we got to go.
We'll see you next week on All Things Legal.
A News Talk Sports Leader, WWL New Orleans, WWL FM and HD.